This is FilmBookCast.
FilmBookCast.
FilmBookCast, the official podcast of FilmBook. Get ready for the latest in film news, TV show news, and theatrical reviews. FilmBook's podcast starts now.
Hey everyone, and welcome to FilmBookCast, the official podcast of FilmBook. My name is Chris Banks. If you're tuning in for the first time, what I do on this episode is discuss the latest film and TV show news. I also review an in-theater film. You can find more about FilmBookCast on film-book.com by using the search term FilmBookCast. You can also email us at podcast@film-book.com with FilmBookCast in the subject line. Let's jump right into it this week. Now it's time for some TV news. Did anybody know that ABC was reviving The Wonder Years? Alan Moldano, star of The Last OG and Heels, just got cast as a recurring role. He'll play Coach Long, an affable guy who takes his job coaching a preteen baseball team very seriously. His son Tony is part of the team, Dean Williams, played by E.J. Williams, the center character for the story. Both Tony and Dean ask their coach if they can scrimmage against an all-white team across town. Long isn't interested. That is, until Dean's mom, Lillian, convinces him that it's a good idea. Written by Saladin Patterson and directed by Fred Savage, the revival of the classic 1980s family comedy drama is set in the same era as the original. It looks at how the Williamses, a black middle-class family in Montgomery, Alabama, in the turbulent late 1960s made sure it was the Wonder Years for them too. Lee Daniels serves as executive producer for the show. Super exciting TV news. In some more TV news, last week we talked about Michelle Monaghan assuming dual roles in the upcoming Netflix series Echoes. Well, this week we learned who will play her opposite. Matt Bomer is set to play the male lead opposite of Michelle Monaghan in Echoes. It's Netflix's psychological thriller. It's a limited series from 13 Reasons Why showrunner Brian Yorkie. It's a mystery thriller about identical twins Leanie and Gina, both played by Michelle. They both share a dangerous secret. Since they were children, they both secretly swapped lives, culminating in a double life as adults. They share 2 homes, 2 husbands, and a child, but everything in their perfectly choreographed world is thrown into disarray when one of the sisters goes missing. Bomer will play Jack Beck, Lenny's husband. He's the boy next door who'll grow up to be the husband everybody wishes they had. Very exciting TV news. We're going to end TV news this week with a little bit of sad news. After 25 years, PBS has canceled the show Arthur. It's coming to an end after 25 seasons of airing on television. Based on Arthur Adventure book series by Mark Brown. It was developed by Kathleen Waugh, and its first episode aired in 1996, and yours truly was sitting in front of the television for it. The series has been around for 25 years. Overall, nearly 250 episodes have ran on PBS. PBS quietly canceled the series by opting not to move forward with the 26th season. It's very disappointing that PBS has decided to take Arthur off the air. I think kids need educational, kind shows now more than ever. So here's hoping that we'll see Arthur return to PBS sometime in the future. That's it for TV news. Let's head on over to some TV trailers now. You can hide from your past, but you can't run away. In the new trailer for Dexter New Blood, coming in November from Showtime. The series picks up right where we left off, and he's hiding. What is he up to? Check out the trailer for Dexter New Blood. It's premiering on Showtime, the new series, a revival of it, November 7th. Check out the trailer now. Another new TV trailer that hit this week is from Apple TV Plus, and it's Season 2 of C, starring Jason Momoa, Dave Bautista, Alfred Woodward. The series is scheduled to make its second season return Friday, August 27th, and if you check out the Season 2 trailer, it continues to hype up the upcoming showdown between Momoa's Baba Voss and Bautista's Edo Voss as we get a glimpse of how the brothers became enemies. It also gives us a glimpse of the impending war between the Kingdom of Paya and the Travantian Republic. Check out the trailer for Season 2 of C. It'll debut on Apple TV Plus August 27th. The last TV trailer we're going to look at this week is hotly anticipated. After a very long wait for more episodes, Fear the Walking Dead Season 7 is just around the corner. The season will debut October 17th, and we just got our first 2 new clips in, and if you haven't seen the end of Season 6, stop the podcast now. We see June and John Sr. stuck in what appears to be a serial killer's hideout. They're in a den, and they're hiding after the nuclear bomb went off. It seems like everybody's sprayed out, and I can't wait for Season 7. And if you haven't seen the clip yet, check out the newest clip from Fear the Walking Dead Season 7. It'll debut October 17th. That's it for TV trailers. Now let's head on over to some film news. Some surprising news this week is Scarlett Johansen and Disney are going to be locked in a legal battle for the foreseeable future. Scarlett Johansson filed a lawsuit against Disney claiming that the studio did not pay her what she deserved for releasing Black Widow digitally. Apparently, what's in her contract is a chunk of the box office earnings, but the digital streaming piece is completely void. And Disney obviously released Black Widow simultaneously and in theaters. So Scarlett Johansson is really taking it for the future of movie stars by bringing this lawsuit to Disney. And Disney fired back this week, saying that the lawsuit showed callous disregard to the COVID-19 pandemic, and they also revealed her salary, which is $20 million. Now, I have never seen that kind of breach of trust from a studio, and Scarlett Johansson's lawsuit is scaring me for the future because I'm not sure that movie stars will exist the way that we know them to be. Studios hold all of the power now. Companies like Netflix and all of these other places hold all of the power now. And Scarlett Johansson's lawsuit is trying to set the track for the future of movie stars. Let's see what happens. In more film news, Kyra Sedgwick's Space Oddity has added Kevin Bacon, Simon Helberg, and Carrie Preston to its cast. Space Oddity tells the story of Alex, who after giving up on Earth and deciding to leave it all behind for a one-way mission to Mars, develops an unexpected romance with Daisy, played by Alexander Shipp, an enigmatic town newcomer, which forces him to choose between the uncertain journey to the stars and an even more uncertain journey to the heart. Bacon will play Jeff, Alex's father. Preston is Jane, Alex's mother, while Helberg plays Dimitri, the love interest to Alex's sister Liz, played by Madeline Brewer. Production is currently taking place in Rhode Island, and there's no word yet on when the film will be released. And speaking of casting news, J.K. Simmons is in talks to play Commissioner Gordon again in the upcoming film Batgirl. Simmons played the head of Gotham City Police Department in Justice League, and he's in talks to return to the DC Universe as Commissioner Jim Gordon in the upcoming HBO Max film Batgirl. Filmmakers Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah, directors of Bad Boys for Life, are directing Batgirl. It's a script written by screenwriter of Birds of Prey, Christina Hodson. The film is set to be released on HBO Max sometime next year, and here's hoping J.K. Simmons will reprise his role as Commissioner Gordon. That's it for movie news. Let's switch up gears and head on over to some film trailers. Did you see the trailer for House of Gucci? What a chic, stylish, looks like a fun ride. Starring Lady Gaga, Jeremy Irons, Al Pacino, Adam Driver, and many others. Check out the trailer for House of Gucci. It comes out in November. I'm not familiar with the story all that well, but I think it's based on the book House of Gucci. So check out the trailer for House of Gucci. It will come out in theaters in November. Another cool film trailer that dropped this week is called Baby Money. It's by Blue Fox Entertainment and Playthink Entertainment. It's a crime thriller that stars Danae Garcia, star of Fear of the Walking Dead, and it'll come out on video on demand August 31st. With little money, an eviction notice, and a baby on the way, Minnie and Jill agree to be on the lookout and a getaway driver in a suburban robbery in hopes of scoring a mysterious purple box. When things don't go as planned, pregnant Minnie runs, leaving Jill behind and hiding. Now they need to escape in time for a major cash out. Check out the trailer for Baby Money. It'll debut August 31st. Rounding out the weekend film trailers is King Richard, starring Will Smith, and it's about Serena and Venus Williams' dad. I can't wait to see this movie. It's a super inspiring story and an incredible life that has given us so much from Venus and Serena's genius. And I can't wait to see this movie. Check out the trailer for King Richard. Alright, time for this week's movie review. For this week's movie review, we're going to talk about Roadrunner, a film about Anthony Bourdain before it leaves theaters. It's not where you go, it's what you leave behind. Chef, writer, adventurer, and provocateur Anthony Bourdain lived his life unabashedly. Roadrunner, a film about Anthony Bourdain, is an intimate, intense, behind-the-scenes look at how an anonymous chef became a world-renowned cultural icon. From Academy Award winner filmmaker Morgan Neville, the film is an unflinching look at Bourdain, reverberates around his presence, in his own voice, and in the way he indelibly impacted the world around him. There's a lot of controversy about this film, and I'm not sure why. I'm not going to get into... This is a film podcast. This is about art, not politics. So we're going to talk about the film as a film. We're going to talk about the use of his voice as an artistic choice. There's a lot of stuff in the news about using a dead person's voice and deep faking it using artificial intelligence. We're not going to really talk about that. I'm going to say at the fore that it was a little eerie, because you can definitely sense where the fake voice comes in. And it's eerie because it sounds like him. I'm not going to talk about whether I agree or disagree with its use because, again, this is not a political podcast. Overall, I think this film is one of the most powerful documentaries I've seen since An Inconvenient Truth when I was in high school. I didn't watch No Reservations. I never watched Anthony Bourdain really on TV. I watched him every now and then. It would be on TV, so you would consume it. You know who he is. He would always be in the news, so I was aware of who he is. I didn't know much about how he became a celebrity. I didn't know about... And luckily, the film touches on his career as a chef. It's really awesome to see these quiet shots of him in the back of a kitchen or laying on the ground in the middle of Manhattan. And he's young, he has an amazing head of hair. And he's ordering food, and there's a scene of him being pissed off about the food deliverer being late. And he makes a joke. Anthony does in the middle of the scene. He says, if the world just ran like I run my kitchen, and it gives you a glimpse of how Anthony really was a chef, because he both loved food, but he also loved control. Chefs, the job of a chef, there's a very big component of control within that job. So it's honestly one of the best parts of the documentary is just glimpses of him as a chef or as a young man, as a younger man. It's really cool to see who he was, how he was like when he was younger, and when he was doing his passion, which is being a chef and cooking food for other people. And he talks about why he was a chef. He talks about what drove him. It's so interesting sitting back after seeing it, because I'm still thinking about so much of it, because it's an amazing glimpse into someone's life. It chronicles the jump from being a chef to being a TV show host. The man never really thought that he would be where he ended up. It's sobering for me, for any of us to watch, because this man, he wrote a book from his own life experiences, and from that book catapulted him around the world hundreds of times. It really made an impact on him, and he really changed as a person by doing this show. He really started as a writer. That's what's most interesting part about No Reservations, at the Anthony Bourdain show on CNN, is that it started off really with him writing, and there's glimpses of him overdubbing his audio, and he was very careful with the things that he would write, what he would expose himself to, but then you get a glimpse through his friends, which shocked me, about just how much he struggled in life. I knew that he did heroin, I knew that he struggled with drugs, but I did not know why. I did not know the depths of it. I did not know where it came from. I did not know that he basically spun one addiction into another addiction, and it's true for most people with addictions. We will always have some kind of addiction. I'm very open with myself, knowing that I do have an addictive personality. It takes a lot for me to stop doing something that I like to do. So already I'm empathetic with anybody who, abuses drugs, because if I tried them, I would be right there with them. And so in watching this film, it's really crazy to see his friends talk openly about how much they both struggled with the same things, and how Anthony, for his whole life would really struggle with love, really struggled with what does it mean? What is it, is it good? What makes it good? What makes it real? What Anthony was such a romantic. He was such a romantic, and so you run up against the walls of that in life, because life is not as good as a movie. You can't marry your high school sweetheart and be with her forever. Some people are lucky enough that they can, but most of us can't. And Anthony slowly realized that, he was married, the first marriage was over 30 years, and he realized that he just couldn't stay with her, or whatever he decided, and it's painful to see him struggle with accepting love. He could never really accept love because he never really got to a place to love himself, and it's a big lesson for any person. It doesn't matter whether you're a celebrity. Just if you're a person and there's something that torments you, or there's something that hurts you and you carry it like a backpack, you have to handle it. You have to take the weight off your back. The film title Roadrunner is appropriate because you see throughout the film how his heroin addiction morphed into an addiction to cook food and control everything to do with that world, and then that morphed into a TV show, an ability to control how you present a certain place, how you tell a story. Anthony Bourdain was a storyteller. He's a chef. He started off as a chef, but he became an incredible American storyteller. And it is a shame that the man is not around to revel in the love that he created. And it's true for all of his marriages. He became a father very late in life, and he never thought he would be a father. And even as he was being a good father, he couldn't stay with it. He couldn't stick with it. He couldn't continue being a father, so they divorced, and he ended up, splitting from the person who he had a daughter with. And I just never knew any of this before this film. I never knew that someone so successful and so loved by so many people all around the world could not appreciate that, or not see that, or not feel it really, because he would have never allow himself to really understand his own responsibilities, because he would run from them. He would always run from them. And his last wife is tough because he really got driven to a point of no return because of the way her life was. She's a French celebrity actor, and she ended up, being in the tabloids, cheating on him with some other French actor. And it really made an effect on Anthony. It really messed with him. And it didn't matter how big he got or how many people knew his name. He never really got comfortable with who he was. I think it's a deep shame, because he is an incredibly inspiring man who really kind of foreshadowed a lot of the politics that we're seeing happen right now in the country, and I just think that if he was alive, he would be so revered and so respected and so admired by a whole generation of Americans, because he was out there for years telling stories all around the world, not just about food, not just about places, but about people, about life, about humanity, about goodwill, about common goodwill, about the commons, about the world, and I simply wish that the man was okay, because he deserves to really marinate in all of the love that he ran from when he decided to take his own life. The film is incredibly well done. The CNN producers are featured in the film. His best friends are featured in the film. His brothers featured in the film. His wives are featured in the film. It's well done. It's not too long. It's really powerful, though. I can't underscore how powerful it is, because it really shows you the importance and the immediacy of spending the time that we need to heal ourselves. Because here Tony was creating a whole new world for us, and he was simply not in it because he never chose to heal. As people, we all go through adversity and have to persevere through pain or struggle. Do we allow that to define us? Do we allow that pain to define us? Do we allow that breakup to define us? Do we allow that mistreatment or that bad word to ruin our day or life, or make us think differently about the people that were around, or our country, or the world? Or do we handle it, settle the score with ourselves so we can then move on and live our lives? Tony was never able to live his life. He was always running from it. And it's an important lesson for us all that celebrity doesn't matter. Love matters. Having no pain in your life matters. Being present matters. Accepting love as flawed or incomplete as it is, matters. I really give a lot of credit to the CNN people, his bosses with the show, because you can tell that they're still asking important questions of themselves. Did they treat Tony appropriately? Did they give him the help that he needed? Did they listen when he asked for help? There's a heartbreaking scene where the director of the show tells us that Anthony came to them before the final season and asked them for help, basically. But Tony was a person that couldn't really ask for help. He didn't have the security to really ask, so he would do other things to kind of hint. And the producers are rightly asking themselves questions about whether they really helped their friend or whether they enabled their friend. Help sometimes is disguised. What we think of as help sometimes to the person who's struggling is really enabling their bad instincts or habits or desires. And you can tell the CNN people are still asking themselves these questions. And I think that that's, as tragic as the story is, it's beautiful. His life was beautiful. And the fact that people are thinking about that deeper, about how they treated him, related to him, handled his life, is beautiful. Because Tony deserves that. Tony deserves this documentary to be made. He deserves the praise that he gets from people. He deserves the love. How he decided to end his life really is none of our business. He made it all of our business because of the way he chose to end his life. But I want to focus on his actual life and the beauty of it and the meaning and impact that he had. Because he lived a tremendous life and he deserves to be honored. And that's what the documentary does, more than anything, is honor Tony's journey and allow us to see that the road does change you. Life does change us. We have to be very careful about how it changes us, how we allow it to define us. Go check out Roadrunner, a film about Anthony Bourdain, before they take it out of theaters. It's currently in theaters. It's going to be on HBO Max, I think, after they take it out of theaters, but I hope you like it as much as I did. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of FilmBookCast. You can find more of my work on film-book.com. Just search for Chris Banks or FilmBookCast. You can also find me on Twitter. I'm at cbanksy, that's S-E-E, Banksy, and I'm on Instagram, at the Chris Banks. If you listen to this podcast on iTunes or another podcast service, please consider rating and reviewing this episode. If you're listening to this podcast on our YouTube channel, FilmBook Podcast, please like our video, subscribe to our channel, and leave us a comment in the comments section. It really helps other people discover our podcast. Please also consider becoming one of our patrons on Patreon at patreon.com/filmbook. Your support helps us create more engaging content. You'll find our Patreon link below in the description. If you want to tweet about this podcast, please do. Use the hashtag FilmBookCast. Tune in next week for the next episode of the FilmBookCast. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you then.